If someone asked me what my favorite gaming franchise of all time is, I'd probably say The Last of Us, because I want to look cool and edgy. But if we're being honest, the real answer is the LEGO games. These games will always hold a special place in my heart. They're the first games I ever played with my little brother. LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean was my first ever platinum trophy, and, well, they're just freaking awesome. So, for my first ever Achievement Hunt video on this channel, I wanted to tackle one of the best LEGO games ever made, The Incredibles, and set myself a challenge. Could I unlock every achievement in the game in under 24 hours? So, without much further ado, let's get into it. To get started with this challenge, I dived straight into the story levels. Not that I had much choice, to be fair, that's where the game puts you. We start out at the beginning of The Incredibles 2, with the family chasing down the Underminer, and plow our way through minor henchmen whilst trading Jack-Jack to other family members, so we don't have to deal with the crushing expectations of being a parent. Throughout the level, we're taught the mechanics of each character, as well as various interactable elements of the game, including a family build, which requires you to find a certain amount of Incredibricks that will allow you to build something huge to progress in a level. In completing our first family build, we earn our first achievement of the challenge, Better Than the Barbecue. Not long after, once we've saved the day and diverted a rather large drill so that it doesn't power tackle an important city building, we also earn our second achievement, Out in Public Again, for completing Chapter 1. Damn, off to a pretty good start. I may have only been 2 achievements into the challenge at this point, but my ego was already ballooning to the size of Mr. Incredible's guns, I can't lie. We're then introduced to the open world aspect of the game, which lets you explore Municiberg and New Urbum with 10 different districts at your leisure. Well, kind of. First you have to complete a crime wave in each district, which involves you solving various problems for citizens in distress. Meanwhile, the police officers just stand around looking scared. Typical. Upon completing our first crime wave, we unlock the achievement, Making the World a Better Place. We also unlock one of the best features of this game, the Pixar Family Build. Basically, these are themed builds which create a location from a Pixar film, like the reef from Finding Dory that you see here. You also unlock a character from said film, in this case, Nemo. Oh, it's Dory. Well, she's okay too, I guess. By interacting with these locations in a specific way, you also unlock red bricks, which I'm sure need no introduction for LEGO fans. And after swiftly headbutting a few clams, we collect our first red brick and are awarded an achievement for our troubles, a natural advantage. But enough clown fishing around, eh? Let's get back to the story. Chapter 2 sees Elastigirl sent on her first mission, much to Mr. Incredible's annoyance, where she's immediately tasked with chasing down a runaway train. Now, if I'm being honest, these travelling levels are the ones where the game really lets itself down. You can literally take your hands off the controls and let the game guide itself, and nothing bad will happen. When the rest of the game is so fun and involved, it's a real shame to see these levels feel so empty. Anyway, after finally managing to land on the train, Elastigirl and her new partner, Electrix, get on with the task of stopping it. We make our way through the carriages, collecting Incredibricks and slapping about hypnotized civilians as we go, until we have enough to activate the family build, which turns out to be a worryingly large grappling hook. We're rewarded with a nice chunk of change, helping us achieve our first true hero of the game and unlock the achievement, the best. The grappling hook finally manages to stop the train, at the cost of this girl's ice cream. Like seriously, why didn't you just move, you sausage? And we unlock Trouble on the Tracks for completing Chapter 2. For Chapter 3, we finally get to take control of Jack-Jack. Nah, isn't he adorable? Sick of the pesky trash panda stealing his garbage, Jack-Jack takes matters into his own hands and engages in a fight to the death with the creature. Fortunately, for the raccoon, Mr. Incredible wakes up in time to stop the fight and briefly celebrates Jack-Jack having powers, before realizing that if he was struggling with a regular baby before, things are about to get a whole lot worse. Yeah, why do people have kids again? We then head back to Elastigirl and Hellectrix, who realize that the villain of the story, the Screenslaver, has hijacked the Ambassador's aerocade. They quickly jump to action and fight their way through the plane, successfully saving everyone on board from a nice toasty explosion. After briefly stopping in to check on the chaos of the Parr household, we complete Chapter 3 and are awarded the Helicopter Havoc achievement. In Chapter 4, Elastigirl sets up a fake TV interview to trap the Screenslaver and, once deducing his location, enlists Reflux of all people to help her hunt him down. We build a huge robotic arm that simply lifts a welcome mat to find the key to a locked door, because of course it does, and find ourselves face to face with the Screenslaver. After an epic battle and multiple slices of pizza being thrown, we chase Screenslaver up a flight of stairs and manage to corner him on the roof, where we finally unmask him and reveal the pizza guy? Strange. Ah well, let's not dwell on it too much because we've unlocked our next achievement, a slice of the action for completing Chapter 4. I thought we said not to dwell on it? Oh hey look, it's your friend Evelyn. I wonder what she thinks about, oh no, wait, she's the Screenslaver, and Elastigirl has been captured. Well, that's awkward. Anyways, back to not dwelling on it, on to Chapter 5. Mr. Incredible is called away to save Elastigirl, leaving Dash and Violet to take care of Jack-Jack. But, keen to build out her collection of Incredibles minifigures, the Screenslaver has sent a bunch of corrupted supers to kidnap them. Luckily, Frozone arrives just in time, and the four heroes battle their way out of the house before Frozone is captured to allow the children to make their escape in the Incredibile. At least Frozone gave his free will up for a good cause. No, not the children. The achievement for completing Chapter 5. Party House. Punny. For the grand finale of the Incredibles 2 storyline, Dash, Violet and Jack-Jack head to the Hydroliner to mount a rescue mission, where their parents and the rest of the corrupted supers are busy tarnishing the good name of superheroes thanks to the influence of the Screenslaver. After briefly losing Jack-Jack on the ship and putting out a raging fire in the kitchen, Overcooked 2 vibes anyone? Dash and Violet reunite with their parents and manage to free Elastigirl from her mind control. The three team up and eventually manage to overpower Frozone and Mr. Incredible, before freeing the rest of the supers from the control of Screenslaver and bringing her to justice. The government declares supers legal once again, and the Parrs celebrate with a nice trip to the cinema.
After all we've been through, we still end up sitting in front of a big screen.
Yeah, you think we'd know better.
Wait, what is this? I came here for a fun, mindless Lego game, not a commentary of the cyclical nature of my addiction to screens. That's it, uninstall, trash game, 0 out of 10. Oh hey, look, an achievement for completing the level. Okay, I guess we can keep going. With Incredibles 2 done and dusted, we move on, or move back, to play through the storyline of the first Incredibles film. We start during a romantic evening on a rooftop of San Pablo, where Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl are arguing over who gets to beat up the criminal they've captured. In their fighting, they accidentally yeet the mine off the roof, leading to a chase across the rooftops to catch him once again. However, they're soon distracted by an alarm coming from a nearby bank, and realize that Bon Voyage is staging a robbery. Determined to foil his plans, the two supers build a slingshot so that Mr. Incredible can shoot over and confront the criminal. By the way, at what point does the stretching become painful? Because that can't be comfortable. At the bank, Mr. Incredible catches Bon Voyage red-handed, and after reluctantly accepting the help of the eager Incrediboy, gives chase to bring him under arrest. We get to play as Incrediboy for the first time, and earn the achievement Everyone is Special for defeating an enemy with a non-super character. And in a pretty brutal way, might I add, like, he straight up roasts the guy's head. Ah well, I'm sure Buddy won't grow up to become a homicidal maniac or anything, so nothing to worry about. After defeating Bon Voyage, Incrediboy tries to fly and alert the police, but Mr. Incredible spots a bomb attached to his cape and tries to stop him to retrieve it. Should have listened to Edna. No capes. he manages to pull the bomb off over a train track and, after painfully stopping a train and putting Incrediboy in police custody, arrives at his wedding. Definitely on time, and we earn the achievement A Previous Engagement right on time. Chapter 8 picks up a few years after the supers have been declared illegal thanks to Mr. Incredible's actions. He and Elastigirl now have a family. Hey, they're the kids from the previous chapters! Who knew? But Mr. Incredible is still seeking the thrill of his old life. So, he saves an old lady's cat. Or at least gets Frozone to save the cat. Luckily for him, a building spontaneously catches fire across the street, and the two outlawed supers jump into action to save the day. They slowly battle their way through the burning hotel building, saving various residents and slapping about potential robbers as they go, before eventually constructing a bowling ball of ice and using it to break out of the building safely, earning us the achievement I wanted to go bowling for completing the chapter. Fortunately for Mr. Incredible, his antics didn't go unnoticed, and he and Frozone are soon recruited to a top secret mission that only a super can handle. The mission in question takes them to No Man is an Island. Oh, No Man is an Island! Ah, that's clever. Where they eventually come face to face with a pair of Omnidroids. The pair are no match for the supers though, who make quick work of them, using a big cuckoo clock of all things. Unbeknownst to them, they were being watched the whole time, and we're finally introduced to the villain of the story, Syndrome. Look at that ginger bastard with his smug grin and his ridiculous hairdo. No, not that one. Yes, that one. Anyway, we unlock our next achievement, Worlds Apart, for completing Chapter 9. After getting a brand new suit from Edna, smooching with his wife, and pumping some serious iron, Mr. Incredible decides it's time for round 2 with the Omnidroid and heads back to the island, where he promptly gets his ass kicked. Well, that's embarrassing. Luckily, an overzealous Syndrome yeets him off a cliff and he manages to escape, where he comes face to face with Gazerbeam. Hey, he's alive! I swear I saw a storyline where he was a skeleton. Ah well, must be the multiverse or something. Everything has one these days. Mr. Incredible and Gazerbeam decide they need to find out what Syndrome is up to, so they get to work infiltrating his base. After fighting and sneaking their way to his computer, they discover that Syndrome has been using supers to perfect his Omnidroid machine, which he plans to use to terrorize a city before swooping in and saving the day so that he can be the hero for once. Oh, he did turn out to be a homicidal maniac. What are the odds? Before they can warn anyone, an alarm is raised and both supers are quickly buried under balls of goo. But at least we got our next achievement, an unwelcome guest. Meanwhile, Elastigirl begins to mount her scouting mission, whether to potentially save Mr. Incredible or try and catch him in the act of cheating, only she knows. However, her plans are quickly derailed when she finds Dash and Violet stowed away on the ship, and 2 rocket missiles heading her way. Before she can stop them, the rockets destroy the ship, and the 3 supers are left to crash land into the sea below. They quickly squash the existential dread of the threat of death, and get to work finding a solution. Working together, they build a ramp to take them out of the wreckage, which Elastigirl uses after transforming herself into a wee boat. By nightfall, they've managed to make their way to a beach of the island, and after fighting with various lasers, twirly death machines, and robot parrots, managed to find some refuge and enough time to make some s'mores. I mean, your father is being held as a prisoner, but sure, you've got time for a quick snack. Elastigirl orders the kids to stay where they are, and heads off to save her husband. Instead, she finds him having a cuddle with another woman, and oh, she mad. Meanwhile, the kids are discovered and are forced to flee, eventually bumping into their parents, where they're all captured once again. I bet Mr. Incredible is fuming. Well, I'm not, because we unlocked our next achievement, I'm Just Happy You're Alive, for completing the chapter. Which brings us on to the final chapter of the film and the story levels of the game. After Violet, not so smoothly, breaks the family out of their restraints, the group commandeer a rocket that will fly them back to the city, where the Omnidroid is already wreaking havoc, and Frozone is arguing with his wife about his supersuit. We see Syndrome try and fail to enact his plan to stop the Omnidroid, leaving the city at the mercy of the machine, and leaving Frozone in a snowman suit. Hey, I think it looks good, personally. The Incredibles, roll credits, arrive in the city and make their way through the wreckage of the streets before eventually coming face to face with the Omnidroid. With the help of Frozone, the family teams up to stop it once and for all.
Oh!
I killed a bird! Brutal. Back at the Parr home, we get an alternate ending where Syndrome just gives up with his attempt to kidnap Jack-Jack and tells the Incredibles that they should pay their babysitters more. I say it again, why do people have kids again? And with that, we draw the story levels to a close and earn the achievement Best Vacation Ever. We're also given the opportunity to let off some steam and destroy an entire city as Omnidroid, which was actually really fun, although it stopped me before I could hit a 1000 multiplier, which really p***ed me off, but it gave me another achievement, Where Are They Now, so I guess I'll forgive it. With 5 hours and 8 minutes on the timer, the story levels were officially out of the way, and with just under 19 hours left to complete the entire challenge, I was feeling super confident that I would have this one in the bag, no problem. So I moved on to the next stage of the plan, tackling the open world objectives. The first thing we needed to do was to complete the remaining 9 crime waves, which would allow us to unlock the location of various brick collectibles on our map. The crime waves featured 5 district bosses: the Brain Freezer, Anchorman, the Underminer, Bon Voyage, and Syndrome, who we would also have to defeat, so we set to work. Along the way, we also unlocked a few other achievements for various things. We got Doing Our Part for stopping an ambient crime in the city, Just Keep Swimming for completing an underwater race as Dory, and That Was Totally Wicked for achieving a 75 hit combo. We decided to make a quick pit stop at Edna's house to create our own character, where we were swiftly chastised for even considering a cape, earning us the No Capes achievement, before eventually settling on the perfect Aaron look and earning the achievement Bold, Dramatic, Heroic. I couldn't agree more, look how freaking awesome Lego Aaron is! After a few hours, we finally managed to defeat the final district boss, Syndrome, and complete every crime wave in the city, earning us Superhero of the Year for cleaning up all districts. In doing so, we also unlocked our final Pixar family build, possibly the best one of them all, by the way. Look, it's Wally! No, isn't he adorable? This gave us our final red brick and the achievement Luck Favors the Prepared to go with it. With the crime waves complete, I decided to mop up a few more tasks before calling it a day. By pairing Syndrome with Buddy Pine, I unlocked the achievement I'm You But Stronger. Whilst completing various races around the city, I very intentionally failed to unlock the gold medal in one whilst using Dash, earning me the silver medal and the achievement a close second. I swear it was intentional, guys. I'm not just bad at the game. What do you take me for? We also completed the final family build, earning us the truly incredible achievement before deciding to replay one of the district bosses. By doing so, we unlocked Someone's Always in Trouble, and when I defeated the Anchorman again, this time with the old lady character, I was awarded Senior Citizen's Arrest to close out the day. With only 10.5 hours on the clock and less than half of the achievements left to unlock, the odds were in my favour as I got to work on the third and final day of the challenge. With the story levels complete and the crime waves conquered, the only thing left to do was replay the story levels in free play to unlock the mini kits and complete various mini challenge achievements in each of them. To start with, we threw 5 enemies into gears during chapter 1 to unlock Cleaned, Well Lubricated and Wound Tight. Damn, that's kinda dark for a Lego game, huh? And by successfully finding each of the mini-kits in the chapter, we also unlocked Kit Car. In chapter 2, we unlocked Really Good Time for popping a wheelie for at least 10 seconds. I gotta hand it to the game developers, by the way, for these puns. Really Good Time. Love it. With our stud multiplier red bricks active, it also didn't take us long to unlock I'm a Billionaire for earning 1 billion studs, and the best of the best for achieving true super in every level of the game. Back to the levels, we earned Your Own Kind of Incredible by using Frozone to extinguish the flames in Screenslaver's Showdown without using the family build. Amazing for not taking any damage during Bon Voyage's maze in the Golden Years. It's Learning for triggering every trap during No Man is an Island. Plain Crazy for dodging every plane part during Above Par. And Where's My Supersuit for completing the final showdown with Lucius Best workout. Nice. We took a quick break after unlocking Bob Parr to pair him with a character called Gilbert Huff, who some of you may recognize. By slapping him about with Bob, we earned the achievement I'm Not Happy Bob. Not happy. Then it was time for 3 more level achievements. We unlocked Making Par for chasing down the Screenslaver in Elastigirl on the Case within 3 minutes and 15 seconds. That's one way to unpack for destroying all of the moving boxes in House Party. And then finally, Stay Right on My Tail, It's Gonna Get Hot for completing Vigilant Vigilantes in 9 minutes. Which I basically cheesed by just using my custom character to fly past all of the obstacles. And I do it again! I missed! Excusez-moi! Comment está?
This should prove to be useful.
Mwah! Hit it off. All of the minikits gone. With all of the free play tasks out of the way, I turned my attention to mopping up the last of the open world achievements. By completing 50 ambient crimes around the city, we earned The Supers Have Returned. And then, after finding all collectibles around the map, we achieved 100% completion in the game itself and unlocked Key to the City, which was a very satisfying one to see pop. Just under 15.5 hours on the clock and only 4 achievements left. Freeze was easy enough to pop. All you had to do was freeze a police officer whilst playing as Frozone. By using a character that can fly, I was able to once again cheese a challenge, this time to avoid being hit by a goo cannon in Return to Nomazin Island, earning me the Untouchable achievement. I told you I'd do it again. Jack Jack Attack could be a tricky one for some people, as it requires you to use all of Jack Jack's abilities at least once, and with 3 different forms that each have their own abilities, there was a lot to keep track of. For anyone attempting this 100% themselves, I'd recommend keeping a note of the powers you use along the way to make this a little bit easier in the long run. Luckily, it didn't take us long, and after using Jack Jack's fire form to illuminate a dark space, the achievement popped. And now onto the final achievement, and unfortunately for me, one that I had already been battling with during my playthrough. Raccoon Them Up required you to achieve Incredible in all raccoon encounters during Jack Jack's battle in the Revelations level. Basically, you had to complete each button mash QTE in a certain amount of time to achieve this, and for some reason, I was having incredible difficulty with it. See what I did there? And even though I had just over 8 hours left on the clock, I was starting to sweat. But then... it's not giving me any squares. Yes!
No.
Sweet victory. With 15 hours, 55 minutes, and 40 seconds on the timer, I achieved 100% in LEGO The Incredibles, putting me well below my target of 24 hours. First achievement speedrun completed with plenty of time to spare. There's a reason why LEGO The Incredibles is one of my favorite LEGO games, and I was constantly reminded of that during this second playthrough. The humor that we've come to expect from LEGO pairs perfectly with the punny humor already found in the world of The Incredibles. Bon Voyage, No Man is an Island, you get the gist. The open world crime wave aspect is new, fun, and feels specifically geared to the IP itself. The inclusion of the various other Pixar characters makes me giddy every time I unlock one, The way you get to open mini bags to reveal your unlocked characters is so satisfying. I could go on and on. That's not to say that the game is without its flaws, of course. For example, as I mentioned earlier, the levels in which you're traveling could literally be completed without touching your controller once. And the flow style minigame got a little repetitive after a while with no other alternative. But the negatives are massively outweighed, and it still baffles me to this day that this game got such a lukewarm reception on its release. Moving on to the achievements, these were pretty standard to what you'd come to expect from LEGO games. Some are a little more challenging than others, but none are especially difficult, and the majority require a time commitment rather than a skill level from the player. LEGO games are really good starting games for anyone looking to get into achievement hunting, in my opinion. The 100% mark isn't just given to you by any means, but is definitely attainable for everyone. I would say to watch out for a couple of achievements that did seem bugged. If they don't pop straight away, either complete a different task or replay the level, and that should help with them kicking in. Overall, this was a really fun experience, and I would highly recommend for you to check this game out if you haven't already. It shocked me to find out how many people hadn't played it in my Twitch chat, so go do yourself a favor. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by leaving a like and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you have any other 24-hour challenges that you want to see me do, let me know down there as well. And if seeing achievements unlock gives you that drip of endorphins like me, hit that subscribe button for a brand new Achievement Hunt Speedrun video every single week. Thank you so much for watching, have a fantastic day, and good luck with your next Achievement Hunt.